Well, thank you everyone for being here today. Today is the, 12th? I'm bad about days. We're in November, that's all I know. Please stand as we read the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Amen. You may be seated. Thank you for coming today. Our fearless leader, Doug, unfortunately lost his father. So we're doing a card around for Doug. I'm going to read today from Daniel Scranton. The name of this is, Why Would You Play This Human Game? We are the creators. We are a 12th dimensional collective of non-physical beings, and we are here to help. We access so much as we connect in with all of you there on earth in this very moment. Because you who are there in this very moment is different from who you were 5 minutes ago. And we want to take that in and to realize, and we have to keep up with you because you are expanding and changing so rapidly. Now, you get to decide who you are becoming as well. And when you are awake, you realize you are deciding in each and every moment who you want to be, and sometimes who you believe you can be. And when you can continue to spread yourselves out because you believe more is possible, that expansion is really an expansion of self. The you that you think of when you think of self. As you continue to do this more consciously and deliberately, it gets easier. You are not meant to repeat the same experiences as the same versions of you over and over again. And that means if you keep having the same circumstances coming up in your experience over and over again, you still need to change. It means that you need to make a new choice in how you respond to these circumstances. And then you move up a level and you expand out further, and you know yourself a little bit more as source energy, and you have new circumstances, some of which you will like, and others will challenge you to once again change and become more and choose differently. And that's the game you're playing with yourself. No one else is playing the game for you. You are not a puppet at the end of the string of some puppeteer in the sky. It is always you. And you are meant to expand the idea by what is meant by the self, so that you can see that it's always been you. It's just the larger you, the whole you, the more complete you. And as you align with that you, then you make better choices and you respond in ways that serve you better. This is the game of mastery. This is a game that only masters would dare play, and the stakes are high. You're told that you could die and you could go to hell for eternity there on earth. And you have to contend with all of that as you move through the maze, the labyrinth that is your life experience. And so you've made it an exciting game, a challenging game, and ultimately a very satisfying game when you realize what the rules are. And it becomes easier to play the game that you are playing when you realize that you are meant to go beyond the limitations of the game. Go beyond the limitations of the game that are being placed upon you. And you know what those tricks are doing to you. You just have to make the choices, better choices. You have to choose to take on a new perspective, to forgive, to meditate, to take time for yourself, to heal, to process and clear old, stuck emotions, to examine your beliefs. And these are the ways you move beyond the limitations, and you become the higher you, the higher self that you were always underneath it all, and you'll always be in a state of becoming. There will always be a higher self for you to move into next. And that's what makes the game fun and eternal and expansive and infinite. And we are all very fortunate to play. We are all aspects of Source, different game pieces who get to experience all of this for the fun of it, which is why you would play any game that you would play. We are the creators, and we love you very much. All right, today I want to introduce Meredith. She is a book author, so please give her a big round of applause. Thank you, it's all you.
Oh, great, okay. Hi, everybody. Hello, I'm Meredith. So I actually came to the Cosmic Church of Truth several times in the past as I was actually starting my own awakening journey, probably about 10 years ago or so. And at that initial point in time, I began to better understand, the whole landscape of all the stuff that was going on that was more metaphysical, and I was so attracted to it. And I sensed for some reason I'm meant to take information in from the external field and channel it. I don't know, something told me about that, and it was completely counter to everything that I had done in my background. So by background, I have an MBA. I'm currently an executive in a company doing strategy and transformation. That's what I do for my day job. Mm-hmm. But I felt like this was another path I really needed to pursue. And it's been such an amazing experience to go through, I'm sure, as you all know. But as part of that journey, I actually started to work on raising my frequency. And as part of that, psychic sensitivity started to come on in a big way. And needless to say, I did start channeling and connecting with different interdimensional beings. One of them is an ascended master named Hilarion. I also connected with some Pleiadians and a couple of other groups, but ultimately it culminated with a group that is called the Collective Consciousness, but I think it's an aspect of us, basically. They don't identify as a name, they just identify as a collective. But I think, interestingly, I'm going to share today messages that I received from Ascended Master Hilarion. And I probably spent a year writing them down and then thought, I can't possibly hold on to this material. I need to share it because these wisdoms are just so powerful. My intention was never to be an author or anything like that, but I ended up putting it into a book. Not really that I wanted to make money off of it. I don't. I just wanted to put it out there, and I just started a YouTube channel just to, whoever is going to see it is going to see it. I'm not going to market it, but whoever resonates with that material will find it when they need to find it. And I have to say, and I love Daniel Scranton. I've worked with him many times, but I actually, I love the channeling piece that you brought forward from the creators, because it actually is a good segue into what I'm going to be talking about today, okay? So interestingly enough, when I was a small child, I felt that there was more, like we all do, right? But one of the things that I felt was that I feel like there's rules to this game, and I have to figure out this game. And I was like 5 when I was thinking about this. But essentially, what I'm going to be talking about today are what I call sacred principles of the field, mirroring, and polarity. And interestingly enough, Daniel in his passage, talked about various principles. It was more the creators that really brought it forward, and he was the channel or the conduit for that message. What I learned from Ascended Master Hilarion is many of those concepts, but actually he first came to me and said, I want to work with you, but I want to work with you on actually bringing forth some materials. And actually, here are the chapters of content that we're going to work on. So he actually started with the agenda, if you will, or the table of contents. And ultimately, the whole point of it was to teach about the stages of ascension of consciousness, how we as souls, how we as beings ascend our consciousness. And that is material that I'm happy to share at a different point. That's not actually what I came in today, but maybe I'll get through what I came in faster and we can talk about that. But he actually first wanted to start, and Daniel actually addressed that a little bit. He first wanted to start with getting to the nature of reality by which our existence plays out. So it was more of the science behind how our nature works, if you will. So it was the science behind our reality, the science behind how nature works. And as such, we got into, the field, which broadly became the quantum field, mirroring, and polarity. So that's basically what I'm going to talk through. I'm guessing that most of the people in this room already know what Ascended Masters are.
I think so, but tell us your point of view of what Ascended Masters are.
No, I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, that's great. So Ascended Masters, I'm sure everybody has a different definition of it, but Ascended Masters essentially have lived in the earth plane. Sometimes they live in other planes, other existences, but essentially they've mastered, if you will, the emotional body, the physical body, the energy body, the etheric body, and they've essentially mastered what it means to exist in a physical existence. And they kind of can come back and re-experience it in a physical existence and teach others, or they can, teach from afar through other conduits, if you will. How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds good. So basically,
Yeah.
Ascended Masters were human,
They were human, yeah.
in your opinion, yeah.
Yeah.
As in, they're not Ascended Masters from Venus or some non-physical collective.
Correct, yeah. At least that's what I was given.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to read materials that actually are in the book, but because they're his words, not necessarily mine, but it actually sets up, I think, the fundamental building blocks of why everything that Daniel talked about is so key. So it's more the science behind it. But I first wanted to start off by what Ascension is, because that was actually told to me. The title of your book needs to be The Science of Ascension. That's the book, literally.
He's a very bossy
The Science
guy.
of Ascension, yeah. And he's more scientific, as I came to later find out, more scientific. And he is bossy. His energy is extremely bossy. He would wake me up intentionally at 4:45.
Oh!
Time to get up. Let's work.
Yeah.
So it was like, we've got this project. Let's do it.
It was like, this is a good time for me. I don't know about for you.
Exactly. I'm like, I've got meetings today. I don't know. I've got a day job, but anyway. So ascension is often misunderstood as escape.
But ching.
Huh? Yeah.
Yes.
A rising up above the earth plane. But what Hilarion teaches is something more profound and different. Ascension is embodiment.
So taking your body to a non-physical dimension?
No, actually, what I came to learn, and it wasn't just from Hilarion, it was also from the collective consciousness, it's actually embodying more of your soul presence into the physical plane. Mm-hmm. That's completely counter to what I thought it was going in. I thought it was getting higher and higher and higher with your frequency.
Right.
But in the process of doing that, you actually start to embody more of your true essence.
So you're a human on Earth,
yes,
embodying higher frequency.
Exactly. That was very counter to what I actually assumed it was going to be going in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a departure from matter, it's harmony with it. Okay?
If there is such a thing.
Exactly. It's not the act of becoming so, it's the act of becoming so vibrationally coherent that you become the transmitter of divine will not as a rule, but as a resonance. Okay? So in this work, he'll speak of electrons, he'll speak of polarity and mirroring, not metaphysically, or metaphorically, I should say, but literally. Our bodies are electromagnetic fields. Our thoughts are scalar currents. Our breath is the carrier wave of divine symmetry. Okay? Ascension then is not a destination, it's a calibration. It's the remembrance of your true nature encoded in your field and your conscious alignment with that signal. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to get into is healing, forgiveness, and light integration. And it actually is around the quantum field. So here I go. I'm just going to read what I channeled from him. The quantum energy field, or hologram, is a large expanse of all that is, was, and ever will be, connected through a multidimensional field of energy. The field is an energy construct in which intention, or consciousness, can influence into creation. Electrons, protons, and smaller quantum particles are directed to form geometric shapes based upon the intention and feeling of the consciousness source. So as source is or thinks, all in the moment is manifested. The consciousness will vibrate at a certain frequency that will manifest form to match the vibrational frequency. It is a construct that is not governed by time or space, but creates the illusion of time and space. The quantum field moves in and out of form based on vibration. Parts of quantum materials spin and then don't spin and move to match geometric shapes. The shapes are then manifest by divas, elementals, and beings. All is life and all is alive. The field is energy in motion in the construct. Scientists observe the field mostly in the third dimension. As much of the science focuses on physical characteristics at the quantum level. However, the field is very much multidimensional, existing in space-time simultaneously to signify there is no space or time. It just is. Consciousness interacts in the field or with the field simply to experience for the sake of experience and learning. And then I asked Hilarion a question. So what's the connection between electrons, atoms in the field to thought? Like, how does that work? And he said, the field is a streaming state of energy and motion made up of small electrons and atoms. Like the hologram we discussed, consciousness that is attuned can manipulate the quantum field and the perception of physical manifestation. Even those without the knowledge of the manipulation are constantly manipulating matter and their reality or experience in the hologram. They are like babies, unaware of their gifts and powers. They are consciously ignorant that they control their experience and destiny and are not victims to the reality of the outside world. The interaction occurs when intention and thought, combined with emotions and feeling, emanates as sound and creates a geometrical pattern in the field of energy. Energy vibrating at different frequencies that can be measured in hertz are naturally ordered to create a common geometric structure. And he mentioned the fact that I happen to have been guided through my guides into understanding the science of cymatics. So he said, you're studying this with the science of cymatics. So I'll get through the passage and then explain what a lot of this means. The geometric shapes then hold a structure that give the illusion of space manifested in physical reality. So because you're vibrating at a slightly different rate than the manifestation, it appears very physical in your senses. However, if you match your frequency to any object you create in the hologram, you will be able to merge with it. Your mind, however, is often in resistance and constantly works to protect you. It creates an understanding of separation, even when you match frequencies. For example, if you matched the frequency of your hand to a boulder, you could put your hand through the boulder, and yet your mind would still instruct your hand it was in the boulder, separate from it, as opposed to being one with the boulder. States of matter are always in flux, as consciousness is always in flux. And as the source learns from the many, the hologram constantly changes. The side of you that perceives is made up of matter with atoms and electrons operating at mass. And these shift in dimension and proportion based on your thought projection of your mind and your feelings. You have the ability to shift your reality based upon the simple act of shifting your thought. Like a pendulum lever, you have the ability to move mountains. Okay. So that was the first passage. So I kind of had put some thoughts together on it, but then I'll kind of break away from that and go into other things that I thought. So here,
so briefly,
yeah,
not to interrupt you too much,
Yeah,
cynomatics. So it's the seeing of shapes with sounds.
Yeah, exactly. So I was actually guided to do an experiment with my kids because they were younger and we were in the science experiment age. But yeah, the way that it could best be viewed is there are scientific experiments you can run where you have like a frequency generator. It's just an electronic piece of equipment, and on it you can attach a plate, just like just a thin plate of metal. And it'll start to pick up whatever frequency that you're setting this frequency generator at. And if you simply pour salt or sand on the top of the plate, as soon as you start to change the frequency that's running through this device, the sand at the top will start to display different shapes. So what's happening is that when you have lower frequencies that are running through this, it's a frequency generator. It's just like moving it like this, or like really, really fast, or like really, really slow. That's it. The shapes can be very wide. The higher frequency go, they get actually very patterned and very beautiful and very small and tight. So one of the things that I learned through all of this is that we're constantly surrounded by frequency and other beings, but we can't see them because we're not operating at the same frequency. So just like a fan going over your head, when it's hot outside, you might have an internal fan going on inside your house. When the fan goes faster and faster, you can't necessarily see the blades, but it doesn't mean the fan's not there. It's just vibrating and moving very, very fast. That's basically, there's other consciousness around us. It's just they're vibrating very, very fast. So we can't necessarily see them. We're at a lower state of vibration right now. Not better or worse. We're just vibrating at a different rate. That's it. So, but within this, what I learned is that when you have a thought and that is magnified by an emotion, thoughts are things, they don't, like going back to when I was growing up, I used to watch cartoons every Saturday morning, and you'd see the person who had a thought, and there would be like an energy, like a bubble above their head that would say the thought, right? In the cartoons. Well, that actually happens. So you have the thoughts that go out, they actually create energy around you. And when you have an emotion and you're emoting, especially when it's a strong emotion, you magnify those thoughts. But those thoughts go out and they actually form and create geometric patterns within your space. And you're essentially evolving and morphing the field through that process. So what he was doing was teaching me, and I was like, I got to share this with other people, but he was teaching me the nature of how you can control your space, because he's like, this is how the space is set up. So essentially the field, or the quantum field, it's not passive, it's alive. It responds to intention, thought, and emotions, forming geometric patterns, cymatic structures, and holographic manifestations. Everything you think, feel, and believe is forming the projection you call reality. It's not abstract mysticism, it's spiritual physics. What you vibrate, you create. Forgiveness is not a moral code. It's the release of vibrational resistance that allows higher frequencies to reorder your field. Okay. When thought and feelings align with intention, especially, they emanate a sound into the quantum matrix. The sound is structure. And it's how manifestation works. So you emit a harmonic pattern and the field organizes around it. So everybody is vibrating at a certain frequency and that carries a sound. So we can't hear it. You know, dogs can hear a lot more than we can hear, right? But it carries a sound, it carries a frequency. And that frequency actually starts to order structure around your reality. So healing then is not the fixing of something broken. It is the release of discordant patterns that obstruct your original signal. You are not becoming something new. You're simply remembering who you were before the distortion. So, yeah. Yeah. So that was the very first lesson really that I got. I've created a YouTube channel that gets into a lot of this stuff, but every time I say go back to the beginning, because it's like the first chapter in a science textbook. It's like you kind of have to understand the basics before you kind of go on and continue the learning. So the second theme that that I wanted to bring forward today is around polarity. And polarity is really just different opposites, and in this case, different opposite energies. But polarity is really a playground for integration, if you will. And it's integration of exactly what Daniel is going to talk through, right? So I started this particular session by asking Hilarion, well, you wanted to work with me and describe what polarity is. So tell me, describe what polarity is and how does it serve as an educational tool in our physical third dimension reality? Okay. So his words. Polarity is the concept of completely opposite vibration views of energy. These vibrations are always available in all dimensions, but they are more magnified in lower dimensions because souls are still discerning and learning how to work and manifest within polarity. First, all is source. Source is just that with which manifests energy. So we are all source. Like we're all the single point of consciousness. It is all one energy field. All that is, was, and ever will be. As this is the case, all energy vibrations of the opposite spectrum, whether it be light, dark, good, evil, love, hate, are all part of source. They are all the same field. Each soul has free will. This is an important learning tool because free will allows a soul to independently learn and embed within itself lessons of truth that lower entropy. And entropy essentially is it's chaos. Essentially, it's chaos. And so when you're lowering entropy, you're essentially lowering chaos. Overall, it was more of a scientific term that he brought forward and I had to look up. So thanks, entropy. Yeah. So in the third dimension, souls often see polarity, like light, dark, right, and wrong, from a place of absolute. But because souls feel or believe they are separate, they do not understand that all perspectives are part of themselves, one being or one energy. So light is just the opposite of dark, but they're just an energy, just at a different frequency, if you will. So all souls or beings begin to understand and awaken to the knowingness that all is source. So, I read that wrong. So as we as beings start to understand and realize that all is source, the soul understands that those beings who commit evil are in fact part of source. Often they have a hard time rationalizing love towards those they perceive as evil, for they feel a sense of separation from them. However, evil and good, love and hate, they work in union or unison to drive growth and to help increase frequencies over time. For you see, I love this sentence, often the greatest challenges or evil can be most brilliantly disguised as the greatest teachers of love and light. For those who commit evil, pure acts of evil, bring a compelling upliftment or unity in love in others.
Amen.
Yeah. When the evil becomes too great, the belt must break and love prevails. Yeah. So I was struggling like with this concept when he was teaching this lesson. I'm like, but how can you love somebody who does these things? He's like, so first of all, there's a gazillion lessons I learned after that on how to do that, but essentially, it's like it's all source. It's just a reflection. It's just a mirror. But at the end of the day, they're part of you. They're reflections of you. But essentially, what it's doing is it's causing unity. It causes compassion to develop within humanity when that happens. So, as souls mature in understanding the degree of polarity, lessons and challenges attracted through frequencies can and still do exist, but souls do not perceive their experience or environment in such stark contrast. So what that means is that, like, I always have this perception that, hey, when you raise your frequency, it's all nirvana, but it's not. So essentially, polarity, it will always exist, but as you mature your understanding, you don't get so like torn to one side or the other. You actually understand how they work in unison, and you understand, and you have just more, like, you're more mellowed out on your emotions around extremes around them. So perception of consciousness changes. So they understand that light and dark are both one, different aspects of itself, both working and manifesting to create balance. Souls who understand this do not judge evil as evil. They see it as a vibration energy state that creates evolution and change. Often they understand it to manifest in souls who live in fear and are in need of much love from self and others. Beings with this understanding also have a great ability to transmute lower vibrational energies simply with a kind word, a smile, or sending a feeling of love and light to others. So there is no concept of judgment, right or wrong. There is just energy manifesting, experiencing, and evolving. So we as humans create the judgment.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Energy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, yeah. So they're like energy doesn't judge; it just is. We create the judgment, yeah. So that's basically what he brought forward, and sort of my follow-ups is that polarity is not the enemy of unity; it's crucible. You are not here to destroy polarity, but to integrate it. Light and dark, good and evil, are not opposites to be vanquished. They are aspects of Source dancing in contrast to reveal the wholeness. What you judge, you separate from. What you witness, you can integrate. Polarity serves as a learning mirror. And in third dimensional awareness, beings often see the world in stark binaries. But the consciousness matures, or as consciousness matures, the souls begin to understand that all experience, even those labeled as evil, are still part of the field of learning. Those who trigger you most are often your greatest teachers.
Ooh.
I know. I'm married to one.
You're
Every
married
time I have to
to one.
Yeah. This is teaching me. This is not to justify harm, but to recognize that response shapes reality. When you view polarity not as wrongness, but as vibrational integration, or invitation, you shift from victimhood to alchemist. So that was the lesson on polarity. And then the other big fundamental lesson that I received from Hilarion was mirroring. So this theme is around mirroring as the law of inner revelation. So from Hilarion. In a lifetime, a being has many opportunities to learn lessons to help the being make the right choice through free will towards either love and compassion or hate, fear, and judgment. And you do this through words and actions and feelings. One method Source has put into the hologram is for you to see a reflection of his or her thoughts as manifested physically through words, actions, and facial features. The universe literally holds up a mirror for that person by having another being act as a mirror and be the reflection. So if a being is hurtful or resentful, an opposing being will take the energy, bounce it back to the originator. This is the law of cause and effect, but with an immediate visual. And the circling or cycling back of energy occurs through the law of attraction. When the being gives off an energy, either positive or negative, the electrons of that energy vibrate and spin at a certain rate. The energy is directed out into the universe from the originator, and then that intention slingshots the manifestation of energy back around. It works no other way. The electrons in the energy cloud are attracted back to a similar vibrating being or the source. The visual aid of the mirror is meant to serve as the reflection. If the being is not awakened, the ego can take a negative energy as a sign of aggression or threat, or become embroiled in a battle of wills. Chelas, and Chela for Hilarion is simply like a student, like a spiritual student. But Chelas who are awakened will see the reflection as an awakening to their own behavior, and will reflect on the inner thoughts and vibrational charge that they were emitting. They are more observant and use this occurrence as a symbol for growth. Truly gifted Chelas take their consciousness out of their vehicles, or their bodies, and observe everyday interactions with other beings to see if they, as actors in a play, can respond in a more constructive, loving way in all situations. The mirrors are best experienced as lessons in the second through the fourth ascension stages, especially in the second. And I don't know if we'll have time, but what I was taught around ascension stages is that in the first stage we are learning to master our physical body, and in the second stage we learn to master our emotional body. The third, the mental body. The fourth, we actually integrate those three energy centers together and master it within the etheric body. The fifth and the sixth, we actually start teaching. So in small groups and then very large groups, large population masses. So those were more stages of ascension of consciousness. So what he's saying here is that when you get to the point of understanding the energy field, the fact that you aren't your body, all that stuff, and you're in the moment having an interaction with another human, and it's not going the way it is, at that moment you can either be in it, or you can pull your consciousness out of it and think, wait, what was I thinking before this? And play more of the observer. So it's the observer role, which is sometimes hard to do when you're in the middle of it. But you kind of pull your consciousness out and say, okay, this is going down. What could I say, think, or do differently? Or how can I emit my emotions and my energy differently in that moment to create a different outcome? And so he's saying that usually you're going to get a lot of lessons around this as you're going through your second through your fourth stages of ascension. For it is through the mirrors that the emotions have the ability to be realized and mastered. So the second stage is when you're learning to master your emotions. A simple yet effective way for growth to occur. And the fix for negative or fear-based reflections are so simple. For the only way for a being to change the reflection in the mirror that is not desired is to change the source of the reflection, him or herself. The simple point is often missed in beings in which the ego is more in control. So from that, the law of mirroring is simple yet profound. When what you admit returns. The universe is a feedback loop for your internal state. Every encounter, every emotion, every disruption is a message from your own field. If you experience pain, betrayal, or conflict, ask not, why is this happening to me, but what is this reflecting within me?
That's deep.
Yeah, I know. I went through the betrayal one once, and I had learned this, and I'm like, oh, what am I reflecting? Yeah. Those who awaken to the mirror stop reacting and begin observing. They ask, what frequency was I emitting that attracted this? What thought forms need to be integrated? The mirror is not a punishment, it's a teacher. And when you learn from it, the lesson dissolves. So in other words, when you've got the learning, when you've integrated it into your very being, your very essence, you don't necessarily need to go through that lesson again. Yeah. So let's see here. Yeah, so in closing, kind of, I know I'm a little early, so I'll have time to go through the actual ascension stages. But what I had in closing here was that the field is not external to you, it is you. The mirror is not another, it is now. And polarity is not the enemy, it is the curriculum.
I know you kind of danced around it. So basically, anything, I'm trying to rephrase it in my words. Anything you fear, you attract to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So all your fears you get to experience until you integrate them and release the fear.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's poetic.
Absolutely. So when
dog.
when I was going on this journey and starting to get a lot of psychic sensitivities turned on, I started to remember many other lives,
In the other lives, you had fear.
Sure.
I mean, of the same psychic sensitivity that you turned off, probably.
I did. And as a matter of fact, I had turned off clairvoyance.
Wow.
So the ones that turned on for me were clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizant. Like I could tell you exactly who the killer was at the end of the movie. Like in the first 5 minutes, I'd be like, "This person did it." My husband would be like, "You always get it right." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just pulling it in from the field because somebody already directed it. Like a whole crowd of people put it together. I'm just tapping into what they already know."
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wasn't getting clairvoyance until I finally saw a life where I was what were they called? Oh. Yeah, I was a seer, like in the Greek times, like what's it called? It was a female, like a virgin who was like, yeah, there were priestesses who were virgins and
Vestal
Virgin. That's it. I was one of those, and I slept with somebody, and as a result, I lost it. Yeah, I lost it.
Was it worth it?
Huh? No, I gave him some. I lost some of the gifts, and I started giving out bad seeing information, and I got killed for it.
Mm.
Yeah, I got killed for it, and I turned it off after that. And so I'm like, how come this isn't coming on for me? You know, because I'd go to those sessions on Friday nights, and they'd be like, man, everybody's seeing stuff, and I'm just feeling it all, but I'm not seeing it. Like, what's going on? So I explored it, and I saw the life. Yeah, yeah,
Welcome back.
yeah.
but you felt it. You tried to release the fear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, absolutely. So when you have those fears, they will repeat. They will repeat. You will get another opportunity for that lesson again and again until you finally integrate it. And so I think the challenge for all of us is to really feel and attune into where do we constantly repeat challenges in our lives. That is the opportunity for where we have to think through what we're emanating as a frequency and work on it. So like for me right now, I sometimes have a frequency I did earlier, lower self-esteem, and I constantly challenged at work with opportunities to work on that. And sometimes I haven't passed them. There's some lessons I still haven't passed because I can't get over that fear, right? To let in more light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. It makes you really think about it. So the closing mantra that I had here. Well, I guess we could talk about stages of ascension, but I loved this. I love this because it did come through. It came through from the collective consciousness that I work with. Is let all who walk this earth remember we're not here to escape, but to embody, not to rise, but to integrate, and not to lead, but to cohere.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but So Hilarion, like he's like, okay, I'm going to work on this project with you, and we're going to go through these topics. And all of this stuff was meant to be like the background or the scientific background. And along the way, I even learned how you literally plop yourself onto different timelines and space-time vectors. So we got into all of this stuff. It's pretty interesting, but this was all leading to him talking about these stages of ascension. And so the first stage, as I mentioned before, is really around mastering your physical body and keeping the vessel as clean and as pure as possible so that you can be a good channel for your soul, for your divine essence, for source, if you will, and to bring more light into, the world, I guess you could say. But so it was like, try and keep your body as clean as possible, really. So that can mean different things for different people. For me, it meant stopping alcohol. I didn't drink a lot, stopping caffeine, stopping eating, meat, and I did all that stuff. So as soon as I stopped those things, actually, the gifts actually magnified.
They do.
They do,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So-
Hard's been stopping sugar.
Oh, yeah. 'Cause
But
it's
that
everywhere.
actually works the most, I think. When you actually stop the sugar, it actually works the most.
My smells, like I smell everything. I think I
Yeah.
have a sharper smell than a dog. I can smell something.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it becomes very annoying. But
yeah.
So are you vegetarian, vegan now?
Yeah, but every once in a while, I have to, listen to my body as well. So sometimes if I really need protein, and a different type of protein than like lentils or, chickpeas, I'll have fish. Yeah, to get that protein in. But yeah.
Do they eat eggs? Vegetarian, am I saying it right? Okay. Do they eat like eggs and stuff?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, vegans do not eat eggs or any dairy products, but vegetarians do.
Okay.
And sugar is vegetarian, so you can just plow down on that.
Yeah.
sugar
Yeah.
all you
Yeah,
want.
I think the idea is try and consume, and it really did come down to energy. Try and consume items that are as closest to the source of the sun.
mm-hmm.
So when you're eating plants, they're going to carry a higher vibrational frequency than processed foods, which actually have very low frequency. And as I was learning all this, I started, studying it because I was told to research this. Sure enough, you can get Hertz meters that measure different foods at different ranges, and you can figure out what actually is going to have a higher frequency charge. So as you're consuming it, your body goes into natural coherence, almost like how different tuning forks might start to vibrate at the same frequency. You start to increase your frequency to those higher frequency charges. So many things can control your frequency. Part of it is the food, and then a big part of it, probably the biggest part of it, is the second stage of mastering the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So emotions also carry different frequencies with them. So you've got bliss, love, self-love, happiness, all that kind of stuff, all the way down to like apathy. and fear is in there too. They all have different charges, and you can feel it in your body, right? Like when you're low, you feel, but when you're happy, you're just like, yeah. So, yeah, so it's just different energy. And Tim was sharing with me that last week you did a session on emotion. And you have to feel your emotion. You do. You absolutely do. If you have like going through you or whatever, you got to feel it. You got to get it out of you, because the more it sits in your field, as you know, the more your organs can start to vibrate at that frequency, and it creates illness. I know we have some emotion code people here, so yeah.
So how you take the emotion out from yourself?
How do you get the emotion out of yourself? I think part of it is a process of going through an integration. So it's certainly it's not walking away from it, but it's facing it head on and understanding what my guides taught me. I call this whole team my guides, but what my guides taught me is that really explore what the root trigger was for it. And sometimes the trigger might have been something earlier in this life. Sometimes it could have been something that happened in a past life or a parallel life, because all lives are technically going on simultaneously. So sometimes I've done that, like I've got this emotional trigger around something my husband would always say to me. And now I'm past it, but and he stopped saying it because I moved past it, right? But he would always say this one thing to me, which is like, "What are you making for breakfast?" And I'm like, "Make it yourself," but it would trigger me, and I don't know why. Like I never knew why. I was so triggered, and I get so emotional around it. But I ended up remembering another life that actually created the root of that emotion swell. And once I remembered it, it faded. There was no trigger there anymore. So I was allowing myself to be triggered, but only your emotions can come from within you. They can technically, no emotion can be given to you by somebody else. All emotions swell from within you.
Amen.
Yes, everything.
All
So
stress is an internal.
It's an internal job, right? So feel it, release it, but then also try and understand what the root of it was.
So we cause our own self problems.
Yes, we
And
do.
we smack our own selves in the face.
Repeatedly.
What irony, right?
Right.
That's funny.
So that's the second. And so Hilarion basically said, most of you are in the second stage. Like you're learning to work through your emotions. And it's actually the stage where a lot of people get lost along their path, if you will. The third stage is mastering the mental body. And I actually think in some ways it's probably the most important thing, because once you when you master your mental body, that your mind sometimes can control your emotions, and it can control your therefore what you're funneling into your body. So a lot of us are like emotional eaters, right? So if you can master your mind, and mastering your mind basically says you don't always have to listen to what everybody else tells you. So it's literally mastering what your own gut tells you, your own mind space. And by doing that, essentially then you have better ability to then master your emotion and then master your body, if you will. So he called it the third stage. To me, I was like, it's kind of the most important one in some ways. But yeah, so you master your mental body, and then you get to the point where you can integrate all three of them. And then by doing that, you start to master your etheric body, or your energy field overall.
So there's stages in order to tap into the energy field and
Yeah.
Okay.
And it can happen, like some people, can work on this for years and years and years, or some people can work on it like that. It's like there's no like time frame for it. There's no curriculum. It's all within you.
Passion behind the intention.
Yeah. Exactly.
It may take you one lifetime where it takes me 5 minutes, Adam. So
Yeah.
we may be different people.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I know we're at time.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So tell us how much your book is, because I'm going to buy a copy if you
Where's
have
that?
it.
Yes,
Bring
it
some.
sounds fascinating. Very
You
much.
want-
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Thanks.
what is the name of it, and what is your YouTube channel?
What kind of
Also-
work do you do?
A lot of questions all at once.
It
Yeah.
feels wonderful.
So the book I actually have copies in the car I brought just in case you guys want. I didn't come here to sell a book,
It's
but
okay.
like I have to like
It's
read from it to present. Yeah, so it's called the Science of Ascension. Teachings
good.
of Ascended Master Hilarion.
Is it on Amazon?
It is on Amazon.
Do you have electronic version?
I don't.
Okay, just
No.
paper.
Just paper.
That's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And how much is it?
I think it's $10 or
$10.
$13. It's whatever
Or
they
15.
charge. Like I can't control the
Well,
pricing. Yeah.
Oh, we'll say
Yeah.
15 because we don't want you to lose money, but
Yeah.
it sounds good. I'll buy a copy. I don't know about anybody else.
And
What
then
is your
my
YouTube? Yeah.
YouTube channel.
I know it's hard to remember.
Well, you know, I have a name, but there's other YouTube channels with the same name. So anytime you search up my name, you're gonna get a bunch of YouTube channels on Lego blocks.
Ooh, very spiritual.
Yeah, it just is what it is, right? So it's called Ascension Science, but the handle is just looking it up here quickly at Ascension Science 9776.
Ascension Science 9776.
Yeah, but the channel is technically called Ascension Science.
Meredith, what's your last name?
Lego, just like
Lego.
the toy.
Lego.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
very
yeah.
dope.
Oh, that's why the
Yeah.
search engine
Oh
combines
yeah,
the
yeah,
two.
yeah.
Lego,
Yeah.
Lego,
Yeah.
and you're like, no, different Lego.
And what's the name of the book?
The Science
The
of
Science
Ascension.
of Ascension.
Oh.
Again, you'll probably, if you look up my name, you'll get a bunch of Lego toys on
Yeah.
Amazon.
Do you have like a card or anything? No.
But you had asked what I do. So I currently work for a company called Acosta Group in town, and I'm in a role of a strategy and transformation. And oddly enough, I've played that role in life after life.
Mm.
A lot of lives. I've
And
done a
ongoing.
role like that. Yeah. So transformation,
How would,
alchemy, huh?
I have a question involving ascension and how that works. So let's just say I had a little glimpse of my past lives of reincarnation, but it's kind of like darkened of the vision, like I can barely see it and
Yeah.
can barely remember it.
Yeah.
What we were talking about a week or so ago about soul traveling and all that and the energy field, like stuff like that fascinates me, and like really like I want to go deeper in the rabbit hole.
We all do, don't we?
Yes, I am I'm big into stuff like that.
Yeah.
And manifesting you know the like you said the power of the the secret of manifestation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to get into that. I'm supposed to be later on through my art of my folk magic powwow and Christian based. I'm supposed to eventually become a healer and an elder, but I'm
What's keeping
still
you
in the
from doing it
beginning
now?
stage. Well, I'm still doing my research and my practices, and it's a daily thing.
Yeah.
It's not just like willy-nilly, just here and there. No, it's a consistency of growing and developing and
Yeah.
a lot of knowledge.
So you're being guided down a path of things to start researching and understanding.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then figuring it out as I go with prayer and
Yeah.
yeah. So,
All right. Well, thank you, Meredith.
Yeah.
Please give her a big round of applause. I enjoyed that. I've actually read enough Hillworm that other people call him Chela, Chela. So I'm going, oh yeah, he calls people that. So I've actually
Yeah.
read that before. Joanne, will you get our offering
will.
for today? Give all your big bucks to her as she comes by. We have a board meeting this Tuesday on the 18th.
No, we don't.
Okay, well, it's on the calendar.
Well, okay, is there a way we can take it off the calendar because Doug is not here?
Okay, we'll clarify that. There's no board meeting on the 18th. That's right. This
Yeah.
week is Charlie's last class for soul travel on the 19th on Wednesday. We have our Friday nights, the first and third Friday nights of the month. So this is the third Friday night of the month, the 21st, and that is led by Kelly. Our speaker next week is all music. It's urban monk music. He has live ham music and sound bath. We have the church dinner December 6th. It's on a Saturday. If you want to sign up and join us. Do we have any other announcements for today?
Oh, okay. I like to
I
relax.
think that's about it. Well, Meredith, as we pray, we join us as we pray over our offering for today.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that's all right. We're going to pray over the offering, then do benediction.
I got it, okay.
That's okay. Thank you, God and Source, for this offering, and thank you for the message today. May we not resist anything, and may we feel everything. In all this, we say in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right, now we'll stand for the benediction. From the unreal, lead us to the real. From darkness, lead us to the light. From death, lead us to immortality and peace throughout the world. Amen. Thank you, Meredith.
Absolutely.
I have exact change. Here's 15.
Oh,